I just have to roll a little bit on this.
Hey, sweetheart. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Dani, and we're back at the Dan and Dani podcast. I'm here with my boyfriend Dan, and we have our little babies right here that we were talking about last time. We have California over here, who just looks like a sweet, adorable angel. And we have Ceci right here. You know, she just loves the crap out of me. But yeah, we just want to introduce you guys to our dogs before we actually got down to the drinking part. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe down below. That way we know you guys are going to be following us. Okay,
yes.
Guys, so it looks like you guys are going to go down for a little bit so we can take our shots.
Now that we've clickbaited you and everybody is watching.
I know. Okay, so first we got to give our cameraman John his shot, as tradition, and then we cheers.
Hey, what are you guys drinking today?
I am drinking the Western Sun Blueberry again.
And we are drinking Western Sun Watermelon. Great vodka if you guys want to try flavored. Cheers.
I did the face again. I did the face again.
No, that's the best part. People love seeing the face. That's going to be like a meme now.
Oh, no.
All right, so what are we talking about today, Dani?
So today we're going to be talking about you, Dan. We're going to be getting to know who you are. We're going to be getting to know your business, what you do for yourself in your life, your everyday. So start by telling us what you actually do and why people should be watching you, aside from the channel ads that you already do.
So, you guys have probably seen some of my more technique-focused videos, more tutorials about how to make money online. In these episodes, though, we're going to be doing something totally different. As you saw, we take a shot in the beginning of each episode, and we have a much more fun conversation. So our hope is that we're going to keep these entertaining, make this something fun that you guys want to watch, and hopefully something that you guys learn a lot from, too. So I'm really looking forward to doing these podcasts with you. So to tell you a little bit more about what I do, so I run an ad agency that's called Social Response Marketing. What we do is we make YouTube ads for clients. If you guys have ever been on YouTube and seen those annoying ads that you're like pressing skip on, I was probably making that, and I'm proud of it. So that's what we do. We script ads, we film ads, and we run them on Google Ads for our clients. It's been really amazing running this company because I work from home and it's a really great lifestyle. And I've been loving it so far and excited to show you guys some of the things that I've learned in my journey with internet marketing, not only with this company, but with my last company as well. It's okay. Keep that in.
No, stop. So tell me a little bit more about your company in depth.
Yeah, sure thing. So with my last company, it was Six Pack Shortcuts or sixpackapps.com. I started that company back in 2010, and back when we first started that company, I was really poor, and I didn't know anything about internet marketing or starting a business. So we had this idea though, where we thought that we wanted to teach guys how to get six-pack abs. I had a trainer back at the time who got me in much better shape, and I thought, man, if we put this out on the internet, then people are going to love it. People will really get a ton of value out of it, I thought. But we tried things for a few months. We tried Facebook, we tried Twitter, we tried advertising on Google search, and honestly, we were just kind of eating for a few months. We were not making any sales. People didn't buy it like I thought they would, and even though I thought it was a great course, other people didn't see it the same way. Things changed for us though when we started advertising on YouTube. We uploaded the one video to YouTube and it got 10,000 views. And later on, well, yeah, at the time, it was a really crazy amount of views for us because we didn't have that many subscribers. So we thought, man, we want to get even more results, kind of take things to the next level by using advertising. So we started advertising on YouTube in the very early days, back before it was even managed through Google Ads, and we did really well with it. We did really well even though we weren't doing a lot of things right in the beginning. Our first ad was basically a PowerPoint presentation with no talking, and it was just music in the background as I scrolled through PowerPoint slides on my computer. That's how basic it was. But we were able to get campaigns working on a small scale even back then. Over time, we learned more and more about YouTube advertising. We kind of reinvested the profits. And long story short, by 2019, we were able to grow it into a really big company. We had, at the height of it, about $23 million in revenue per year, and we had more than 100 employees working in our office. So back in 2010, I never would have anticipated all that would have happened. And the key to making all that happen was YouTube advertising. And I saw that as kind of my core skill that I was doing in the business that I could help other people with. When I sold that company back in 2019, a few people that I knew came up to me and approached me with offers to run their YouTube advertising for them. And it's been really amazing. It's the success that some of the clients have had. I also have my book, The 15 Steps to Profitable YouTube Marketing, which you guys can get if you click the link in the description, and you can get a free copy. Teaches you my YouTube advertising methods start to finish, and I'm going to be launching it soon. So that's what I do in a nutshell if you guys want to learn more about my company.
Awesome. So basically, tell me though how somebody can get started online and why it's so important for them to make money online.
Yeah, sure thing. And I know a lot of you guys watching this right now, you might want to start an online business, but you're not sure exactly where to start. Or really even if this is the best path for you to go down. And I think it is, and here's why I think that. First of all, the current situation with the disease that shall not be named. We've experienced a situation unlike anything that's ever happened before in history. For nearly 6 months now, we're filming this in August 2020. A lot of the US has been subject to a lot of lockdowns where a lot of people can't go to an office. Many people were fired. Many people had their hours reduced. Even people that thought their income was steady and that they didn't have anything to worry about, all of a sudden do. Now, I think this was a real wake-up call for a lot of people. You have to learn how to generate money from home because maybe you'll have no other choice. A lot of people think this is going to be a one-time event and it'll never happen again, but I don't think so. This was unprecedented before this happened, but now that this has happened, I think it's likely that this could happen again. So that's one reason why you got to learn how to do it. The second reason is, in my opinion, it's just a much better lifestyle. I can wake up a little bit later, or at least when I didn't bring you to work, but now I can wake up a little bit later. I can have my routine that I'm the most productive in. I can work from home in an environment that I'm comfortable in. And as long as I'm productive, I can work the hours that I want. It's just so much better getting to work with the people that you want to work with too, not having to deal with office politics. Aside from being able to make more money, it's just a really great lifestyle. And I think one a lot of you guys would enjoy. So that's why I think people need to learn these skills.
Yeah, you already know I'm a little indifferent about that topic because, I like working in an office setting, but I'm an extrovert. I like being out and sociable and talking to people in the office. So that's always been my background.
Exactly. And I know for introverts, it's a little bit easier, but even for extroverted people like you can have small groups of people at your house. You can still work from home with a few other people. So you don't have to be in solitary confinement the entire time. And there's ways to make it easier. So it can be good for a lot of people. And if you do want to have people around, there is that option too.
Cut. Okay, so Dan, how do people know what business to even start?
That's a great question, and one that most people don't think enough about. If you have the right business idea, then it's going to require much less work to make it successful, and you're going to go much further with it. On the other hand, if you have the wrong idea, pretty much no matter what you do, it's never going to work. So it's important you get the right idea. The problem is that most people, they just get an idea that pops in their head, they think it's inspired, and they're like, oh, I'm so passionate about this widget, or this thing, or this or that. That's my dream. I'm going to start my business doing that. And I would encourage you, if you're watching this right now, to not do that. Instead, you need to do what professional entrepreneurs do, professional business owners, and you need to have kind of a more scientific process for coming up with the right idea. Now, you don't just want to come up with one idea when you're thinking about ideas to start a business. You want to brainstorm many ideas, ideally at least 10 different ideas for businesses that you could start. And then you want to apply some type of analysis to these ideas to see which ones will have the most profit potential. The analysis that I teach in the 15 Steps to Profitable YouTube Marketing is called the 6-factor profitability analysis. Basically, what I do is I look at each idea along 6 different factors and score them on a scale of 1 to 10 for each of the factors. For example, one of the factors, because my book is focused on YouTube marketing, is the amount of engagement your category has on YouTube. So for example, if you were starting a fitness business, that would have a lot of engagement, that would score a 10. If you were starting a yeast infection cure business, that would have no engagement and that would be a 0. There might be other factors in your favor and that might actually still be a good business to start. But that's kind of the idea of the system. 6 factors, score everything on a scale of 1 to 10, and you get kind of an objective scientific analysis of what's going to be the most profitable. Now, what I recommend people do is they come up with 10 ideas and then find the 3 of the 10 that are going to be the most profitable. So you have 3 ideas that have a lot of potential. Among those 3 ideas, I recommend you go with the one that you're the most passionate about. So you're considering your own passions. You're considering what you want to do, what you want to spend your time on, and what you're excited to do. But you're also restricting your choices to 3 ideas that have huge profit potential. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You think about the profit potential and you think about the emotional factors too of how you're going to enjoy it. So that's what I recommend people do. Buy my book, do the 6-factor analysis, or at least do some kind of analysis and pick a high profit potential idea that you're passionate about.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's actually really interesting to hear about. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, thank you. Glad you think
Because
so.
now you're gonna have to help me do that.
Yes, okay, we'll do it.
So how would I be able to start that though with no money?
That is a great question. I was in this situation, and I know most of you guys watching right now don't have a huge trust fund of cash that you have to start businesses with. You probably have limited funds, and it's challenging to start some businesses with limited funds. So I'll tell you 2 ways you can do it. I'll tell you the ghetto fabulous way that I used, and then the much more sophisticated, better way that you should use. So back in 2010, when I started my business, I was dead broke. I was beyond broke. I was actually in debt. I had student loans and I was in debt to the IRS. So I had negative money when I started my first business. So starting a business does take money, especially the type of business that I started at the time. We had to build out a website. It was a digital product, so we didn't have inventory, but we had to hire a few people. We had to buy advertising. There were some costs that we had.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any money in my bank account back at the time. So what I did is I slightly exaggerated my income, or massively exaggerated my income, and I said I was making $900,000 a year when I was really making about $40,000 a year. And I got some credit cards. I got 3 different credit cards, and between them all, I got about $15,000 in credit limit. And that's what we actually used to finance my first business. Now, I know that might seem really surprising to a lot of you guys, but it actually wasn't as risky as it sounds for a couple different reasons. First of all, the type of business that we started, it didn't have huge startup costs. So a lot of it I was able to finance out of my minimal savings before I broke into those credit cards.
Nice.
Secondly, we had data showing us that the ad campaigns that we ran were profitable on a small scale. So when we first started off, our budget was super small. It was about $10 a day. But when we were spending $10 a day, we were making about $15 a day in sales. And I knew from studying online advertising, that meant that if we spent $100 a day, we would make $150 a day in sales. Or if we spent $1,000 a day, we'd be making $1,500 a day in sales.
Oh, what?
Yes.
That much?
And that's the magical thing about online advertising.
Yeah.
It's scalable. So that means if you're making a small amount of profit, you can click one button, scale things up, and you'll probably be making a larger amount of profit. So once we hit that point, that's when I busted out the credit cards, and that's when we scaled things up. Fortunately, everything did work out like it usually does in these type of situations, and we were able to make the profit back before the credit card bill came due. So that's what I did. That's what actually happened.
Wow.
Since that time, though, I've become a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit less ghetto, and I've discovered a much better way that you can use to start your business. So what you should do is what I did to start this last company. What I recommend that you do is to start what's called a business-to-business company. Now, there's a couple different types of businesses that people can start. Most of the time, what people think about starting is a business-to-consumer company. That's when you have some kind of widget or some kind of service and you just sell it directly to the end customer. The reason why most people think of these kind of businesses is that they're the most visible. As consumers, that's what we see. But there's a second, hidden, almost secret type of company that's a lot better for you to start. It's called a business-to-business company. With a business-to-business company, what you're doing is you're selling services to other businesses. Most consumers never even see this type of company. They just see the end product that they get. But it's a really good type of company to start for a couple different reasons. First of all, you can start a business-to-business company with virtually no money. With this ad agency, I started it with hardly anything invested, and I was profitable the very first month. Now, that's really unusual when you start businesses, and especially if you're limited with your funds, it's really critical that you get profits coming in right away. So how do you start this kind of business-to-business company and start making profit your first month? I talk about this more in depth in my other videos, but basically what it comes down to is I recommend you get some kind of high value skill. What I mean by a high value skill is something that directly and measurably generates revenue for another business. Let's say if you know how to run Google ads and YouTube ads, if you know how to write great sales copy, if you know how to program a website that increases the amount of customers a business gets. Let's say if you knew how to generate tax savings for a business in a measurable way. Those are a few different examples, but basically you want to learn how to do something where you can save a business money or make a business money in a way that's measurable and trackable. Once you got that skill, you go to the business and then you just offer to do it for free for just 1 month. Just say, hey, I'm just starting off. I would like to help you out for free for 1 month. Check it out, see the results, and see how you like it. So what you do it for free for 1 month. If you know what you're doing, you make the business a big pile of money.
Yeah.
Then you go to your client and you say, hey, so if you want this pile of money to continue every month, all you got to do is give me 20%. And usually, even if you're not that great at sales, even if you're not as great at sales as Dani is, you can still close that sale. Even people like me can make that offer and close that type of simple sale. So that's a general blueprint if you're watching this right now. Get a high value skill, start a business to business company, and then don't invest very much to start your first business. Try to become profitable your first month.
So how would you get started if you had a day job though, doing all of this type of business work?
That's a really good question too. And for a lot of people, it seems really intimidating, the thought of that. I know if you're working 40 or 50 hours a week, you're thinking, man, how could I possibly start a business and do this at the same time? It can be done. I've done it. Many other people have done it. You just got to do it the right way. And here is the right way. What I would recommend is that you set a regular schedule. You schedule 1 hour before work or after work that you're going to work on your business. And here's the reason why I recommend this. I've worked with a lot of people, I've coached a lot of people that are starting businesses in this way. And what I've found is that it's probably not realistic to work consistently for more than 1 hour every day after you're working a full-time job. I know you can go home and then if you're disciplined, you can knock out a good focused hour, but it's probably not realistic to work 8 hours and then to work 3 or 4 hours every single day for a few months when you're starting this business. So 1 hour, that's all you need. But it's got to be a consistent hour. What I recommend to make that happen is doing it either directly before or directly after work. If you let some time pass in between and then you do your hour later on or when you think you'll have time, trust me, things will come up and it's never going to get done. So choose your time right now and schedule it. Are you going to work before work for 1 hour or after work for 1 hour? Now, once you've scheduled your time, that needs to be sacrosanct. That means that nobody can interrupt this time for any reason. You can start a business working just 5 hours a week, but it's got to be 5 consistent hours every single week. It can't be like 2 hours one week, then 4 hours the next week. It's got to be 5 hours every single week. So that's what I recommend. Schedule your time and just make sure that you're consistent with that.
Okay, now that we've talked about your business and everything, I want to know a little bit more about you personally.
Okay, yes.
So where exactly are you from, Dan?
I am from Massachusetts. It's a little town about an hour south of Boston. It's called Rehoboth. Shout out to all you guys at Dighton Rehoboth High School.
Oh, so what was the high school you went to?
Dighton Rehoboth.
What? That's such a weird name.
So the town I grew up in, it was a real small town. It was so small that the town actually didn't have its own high school. They had to combine with another high school to have enough people to make a real school. So that's why it's called Dighton Rehoboth, the two towns together.
So you were in a small town.
Yes.
That small of a town.
That's right.
That's awesome. When was it the coldest over in Massachusetts?
Oh, maybe in January. Oh, it is brutal up there too. It gets to be negative, like negative 20 with like freezing rain. I don't miss that part of Massachusetts. But there's some nice things about it. In the summer, it's real nice. Newbury Street in Boston, all those type of things are beautiful in the summer. Skiing is really nice.
I've never skied.
I've
never snowboarded or skied, but I really, really want to.
Yes, we should do it sometime. I think you'll love it.
So where do you want to travel more often than you already have?
The place I want to go the most, if you guys tune into Travel Like a Boss with Johnny FD, I talked about this on his podcast. I really want to go to Thailand. I have never been. I was planning on going right before hit. Unfortunately, that kind of derailed those travel plans. But as soon as we're able to, I really want to go there. I've heard so much about it from Johnny. If you guys want to learn more about it, check out his podcast, Travel Like a Boss and Invest Like a Boss. He talks more about Thailand on the podcast, and he's done it when we've hung out in person too. And he's just made it sound really amazing. So I want to check it out.
Yeah, that does sound really cool, actually. When did you actually come to Austin, though?
So it was back in 2010, and the reason why was to start my last company. So when we were starting my last company, we were trying to work virtually for a while. And ironically, in this podcast, I'm talking about how great it is to work from home. Back at that time, everything was different though.
Yeah.
Back in 2010, there was no Zoom, there was no video calls. So we weren't very productive trying to work virtually. So we all decided like, we gotta move to the same city. We were considering moving to Boston. We were considering moving to Houston, but in the end,
Houston?
Yes, right? Great decision we made.
Why?
Well, one of the partners in the business back at that time, he lived there, so we were thinking about going to his city. But he checked out Austin, I checked out Austin, and we were both like, man, it's such a better place to be. It's the best city in the world, I think, and I'm real glad we moved down here.
So now that we're back talking about a little bit about business startups and stuff, what do you think, or how do you know people will enjoy actually doing what they're doing?
Well, I think that's a good question, because if you want to start some type of online business, but you're not sure exactly what type of high value skill that you would want to get, it's important that you consider this decision and not jump into something that you're not going to enjoy doing. I mean, I love doing YouTube advertising, and it's something that I'm really passionate about, which I've grown to love. But I know that if I were doing something different, let's say if I were doing computer programming, I'd probably be pretty miserable, even if it was kind of a lucrative thing that I was doing. So what I recommend is that you pick up a bunch of books and courses on a bunch of different topics before committing to something. Before, I talked about when people want to start a business, they should devote 1 hour each day towards starting that business. But if you don't know what kind of business you want to start yet, what you want to do is you want to devote your first month to education. Now, this is a step that a lot of people skip. A lot of people think like, oh, I went to college, so that's enough education. But it's not.
It's never enough.
Exactly. You need education that makes you money, not just college. So what I recommend is just going into a few different high value skills that you're interested in, buying a book, buying a course on those topics, and just learning a little bit more about it. I mean, let's say that you were interested in Facebook advertising and Google advertising and computer programming and graphic design and YouTube advertising. Buy a book on each of those 5 topics. In your first month, just devote an hour a day towards going through those books and just learning a little bit more about these things before you dive in. Now, once you read those first 5 books and you learn about those topics, there'll probably be one that sticks out to you where you're like, man, this is really what I want to focus on. So once you got that, just start in developing that as your high value skill. Now, I will say though, a lot of people think they can just think about it and figure out the perfect business idea that they're passionate about right away. But what I found out is that you don't really know what you're gonna love doing until you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
So I would say you get your initial idea, you can start in on that, but just keep an open mind too. Just realize that things will evolve as you start going with your business. I always thought that my real passion was fitness. That's what I thought when I first started. But later on, I realized that my real passion was persuasion, was marketing, and being able to talk to y'all guys like this on video. And things changed a lot over the next 10 years, and I'm sure they'll change for you too. So get your initial idea, run with that for now, but be open to change if something new comes along in those first few months.
All right. Well, thank you so much for telling us about yourself, Daniel. I think everybody actually enjoyed hearing about your life, and I think they really enjoyed watching you hold a puppy.
Yes. And thank you for doing this podcast with me. It's really fun being able to share with you and with everybody like this.
This was a great podcast, second episode. If you guys like this, please like it and subscribe down below.
Subscribe down below. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.